Hello students, I hope all of you are doing very good. So from now onwards, we are starting with our online classes for class 12, and the subject we are going to discuss today is business studies. Now before I go straight away into the chapters, I would like to give you a brief introduction about the marks allotted for each chapters and the overall structure provided by CBSE. Let's go into this. As you can see, I have a PDF in front of me. Clearly it's written theory 80 marks and project 20 marks. This is a pattern, this is a marks distribution, and the same pattern we have already done in class 11, right? So there is no difference because we have already done project for 20 marks and theory for 80 marks. The thing that I would like you all to notice over here is that the syllabus is divided into three parts. What are the three parts? Part A, Part B and Part C. Part A is for 50 marks comprising of 8 chapters. Part B is for 30 marks comprising of 4 chapters. And Part C, that is for 20 marks, which is our project work. Okay? Now let us go into the different parts separately and see how much marks is allotted for each chapter. Okay? Chapter 1, Chapter 2 and Chapter 3. These 3 chapters will come in a combined way for 16 marks. Chapter 4, Planning, and Chapter 5, Organizing, it will come for 14 marks. Chapter 6, 7 and 8, that is Staffing, Directing and Controlling, they will be coming for 20 marks, thereby making it a total of 50 marks for Part A. I hope this classification would be very clear to you. Now let's move down to Part B. What is Part B saying? Part B, Chapter 9 and Chapter 10. Okay, Chapter 9 and Chapter 10, they will come for 15 marks, and Chapter 11 and Chapter 12, they will come for 15 marks again, thereby making it a total for 30. And Part C is separate for project work. So this was a thing I wanted to discuss with you. If you want this, you can take a screenshot and keep it for your further reference. Students, in today's video, we are going to start with our discussion of Chapter 1, that is Nature and Significance of Management. Before I begin into this chapter, let us have a quick look onto the learning objectives, means the topics that we are going to cover in this chapter. What it is? See, number 1 is the meaning of management. Next, about the concept of efficiency and effectiveness, the characteristics, objectives, importance of management, the nature of management, that whether we can call management as an art or as a science or as a profession or all of them. So that thing we are going to learn in that subtopic, about the levels of management, the functions of management. Then comes about the concept of coordination, the characteristics and importance of coordination. So these are basically the 11 topics that we'll be learning in this chapter. And if we talk about this video, then in this video we are going to learn the first 3 topics, that is about the meaning of management, the concept of efficiency and effectiveness, and about the characteristics of management. Now comes the topic about management. What is management all about? See, management is a very common term, it's a very popular term. We all have heard this term somewhere or the other. Like, it's not something which is only used in organizations, but it is also used in our household activities also. We need to manage time, we need to manage work, right? So management is a very common term. We all have heard this term. Now what about the meaning? What does this word actually mean to us? That we have to understand. So in simple words, if I say, management is actually the process of achieving a particular goal with the help of few persons, few groups or few individuals working together effectively and efficiently. I repeat, what is management? Management is actually a process of achieving a particular goal or achieving a particular target with the help of few persons. How? Effectively and efficiently. Pretty simple. Chalo, let's see the definition that is provided to us, and then if any more explanation is given, I'll be explaining you while reading. See, management can be defined, or it is an art of getting things done with and through others. So this I have already said, that management is such a process, it is an art of getting things done. How do we do it? We do it with the help of individual, with the help of some group of people. It cannot be done alone. It is always a group activity. Okay? Now see, management can be defined as a process. Why a process? Because actually management is a series of functions. We have lots of functions involved in the process of management. I'll name some, like planning is there, organizing is there, staffing is there, directing and controlling are also there. So these are basically the 5 functions which are involved in management, thereby making management as a process. So let's continue. Management is actually a process. Process of what? Process of getting things done with the aim of achieving organizational goals. That means there has to be a particular target, there has to be a particular objective, there has to be a particular goal. In order to achieve those objectives or those goals, this process of management is used. And how is it used? See, there are 2 terms, effectively and efficiently. That means whatever process of management we are using, or it is being used by the managers, it has to be used effectively and efficiently. Now these 2 words carry some meaning. What is the meaning? Let us understand in the second part. Whenever we are talking about any kind of goals, any kinds of objectives, targets, okay, always understand, always remember that we are referring to effectiveness. Okay, I repeat, whenever we are talking about targets, objectives, goals, organizational goals, organizational objectives, that means we are referring to effectiveness. And the moment we are talking about cost or something such as resources, optimum utilization of resources, that time we are referring to efficiency. I hope this logic will make you remember this always. What is the logic? I am again repeating, efficiency is equal to cost or resources or optimum utilization of something, and effectiveness is equal to any target, any goals, any objectives, so and so on. Clear? Now let's see what is written. Efficiency, doing task, how? At the minimum cost. Okay? And effectiveness is what? Effectiveness is concerned with the end result. That means it is concerned with the targets, it is concerned with the objectives within the stipulated time. That means time is important. Definitely we can say a target to be achieved whenever, if we are able to complete that in a particular time. Okay, effectiveness and efficiency, they are different. Definitely they are different. One is dealing with the cost and resources, and the other one is dealing with the targets and organizational goals. But yet they are interrelated. This is very important. Questions may come from here that which one is more important, or are they both important for the organization? Which one should organization put more preference on? Then always keep in mind that you have to put your answer in such a way that both are important because both are interrelated to each other. They are complementary. ठीक है, they are complementary to each other and we cannot sacrifice one in need of the other. And there's an example given. This example will make your understanding about these two concepts more clear. Let's read it. A company has a target production of 5,000 units monthly. Okay, so there's a target, clearly target is given, 5,000 units has to be produced monthly. Now to achieve this, what does the manager does? The manager operates on double shifts. Okay, his wish, he is operating on double shifts. Now what is happening because of that double shift is that he is able to produce 5,000 units, but the problem arises that he is exceeding the cost. There was a cost limit. Okay, there was a cost limit. Suppose he had to do it in maybe 50,000 rupees. He could not exceed 50,000 rupees. But because he is operating on double shifts, he is somehow exceeding that target of cost. That is, he is exceeding 50,000 rupees. But he is achieving his target. 5,000 units he is producing. So if we have this kind of situation in front of us where the manager is able to achieve the target but he is not able to put the control on cost, what can we say the manager? Can we say him to be effective or can we say him to be efficient, or none of this or both of this? Which one? Yes, the answer is that the manager is effective but he is not efficient. Why he is not efficient? Because efficiency deals with cost and he is not able to control cost. And why is he effective? Because he has achieved his target on time. He had to achieve 5,000 units monthly. He was able to produce 5,000 units monthly. But the problem arose when he was not able to put a control on the cost. Had he produced within that cost limit, then he would have been effective as well as efficient. Clear? There's one more example given. Let's have a quick look onto that. See. Similarly, another company has a production target of 4,000 units monthly. Okay, so this company is having a target. What is a target? 4,000 units monthly has to be produced. Okay. Production cost is also given. That means the resources. That one is also given. How much? 10 rupees per unit. So that means if we multiply 40,000 will come. The manager is able to keep the cost under control, but due to this he is unable to produce only 3,500 units. So what is this situation saying? This situation is saying that the earlier target or the prescribed target was 4,000 units with 10 rupees per cost or 10 rupees cost of production for 1 unit, right? But what is the manager doing? The manager thought that, oh, I have to put the cost in control, I cannot exceed rupees 10. As a result, what happened? He could produce only 3,500 units. So what can we say the manager here? We can say the manager here to be what? Efficient. Why efficient? Because he was able to look after the cost, he was able to manufacture within the cost. But was he able to fulfill his target? No. The target was 4,000 units, but he could only produce 3,500. So he is not effective. I hope by this example the concept of efficiency and effectiveness would be very clear to you. Okay, see, there's one more line given. Effectiveness and efficiency are two sides of a coin. There has to be a balance. Okay, there has to be a balance between them. This line is very important. The next one. Management should achieve its goals efficiently and effectively. That means both are important. undue emphasis on cost without being effective is also not desirable. So this is actually the situation of number 2. The sum number 2, what we read is actually explained here. What was the manager trying to do? The manager had a thought in mind that I have to put my cost under control. So he was totally focused on the cost. He did not look onto the other factors, whether the target is being achieved or not. He did not look onto that. What did he do? He just had a sole focus on the cost, as a result of which he had to somewhere compromise on his effectiveness, on his target, which is not correct. You have to balance both. You have to be cost effective, you have to achieve your targets also. It's not that you become cost effective but you end up not reaching your targets, so that is not correct for any organization. Okay, so this was the concept about effectiveness and efficiency. Okay, now let's move to the third part of the chapter, that is characteristics of management. Now, characteristics of management can also be called as features of management. Okay, so if we see, we have, I'll just read the main headings. Management is a goal-oriented process, it is pervasive, it is multidimensional, it is continuous, it is a group activity, it is a dynamic function, and it is an intangible force. So these 7 features we are going to learn about management just now. Let's start with the first one. It is a goal-oriented process. Now, why do we call management as a goal-oriented process? Because the process of management revolves round and round the organizational goal itself, isn't it? Whatever process of management we are following, why do we follow management? Because at the back of our mind we know that we have to achieve a particular goal, we have to achieve a particular objective, right? So that is why management is a goal-oriented process. Also, in management, what happens is that the target and the objective is also very easily explained beforehand. That whenever or before we start with the management process, we already know that what is my target and what do I have to achieve. That is also a reason why management is called as a goal-oriented process. So let's read. It is a goal-oriented process which is to achieve the already specified and desired objectives. Means the objectives which is already specified and the objectives which is desired by the organization, we have to achieve that. And how do we achieve that? We achieve by the proper utilization of available resources. Clear? That is why we call management as a goal-oriented process. Moving down to the next point, it says pervasive. Now, what is the meaning of pervasive? See, pervasive means something which is common to all, which can be applied anywhere and everywhere. Okay. Now, this is very much applicable to management. Management can be applied to any enterprise. It is common to all, whether be it any organizational, like economic organization or a social organization or a political organization, irrespective of its size, nature or location, at each and every level. Means wherever we want to apply the management's process, we can apply it, irrespective of whether it's a small scale firm or a large scale firm, or it is a top level management or a low level management. Irrespective of these factors, management process can be applied anywhere and everywhere. Okay, that is why management is said to be pervasive. Now comes the third function, that is multi-dimensional. Why is management said to be multi-dimensional, or what is the meaning of multi-dimensional? See, multi-dimensional means something which has a lot many aspects, right? So management is something which has lot many aspects. It is a very complex activity because it involves management of many things. It involves management of work, it involves management of people, it involves management of operations. So whenever we follow the process of management, a lot many things are needed to be coordinated, and then it is worked upon. That is why we call management as a multi-dimensional activity or as a multi-dimensional process. Okay, let's move down to the fourth feature. Fourth feature says management is continuous. Continuous means, do you remember while explaining the definition of management, I told you it is a process. Why was it a process? It was a process because there was a series of functions involved. I named them even: planning, organizing, staffing, directing, controlling. So these functions of management, these are actually performed by the managers simultaneously. It's not that once I have performed the function and it's done, it's over. No. Every now and then, it's just like a cycle, it's going on. Okay, and that is why we call management to be a continuous, because these functions are performed every now and then. See, the process of management continues till the organizations exist for attaining its objective. Okay? Chalo. The next activity, the next feature is the group activity. Now, why is management called as a group activity? This also we have done little bit while explaining the definition. See, management is something which we do or which we perform by the help of different individuals. These individuals join the organizations, and every organization with these different individuals, they have a different purpose of working. They have different goals in their mind. They come together and work in order to achieve a particular goal, in order to achieve a particular objective, and that is why it is called as a group activity. Okay, I repeat, why is it called as a group activity? Because many different individuals from different backgrounds, they are involved here. They themselves have different objectives, but when they come in the organization, when they are in the process of management, they work towards achieving a common goal. And that is why, as we have to manage, as we have to coordinate these individuals in a common direction, management is termed as a group activity. Okay, see what is written here. It is a group activity since it involves managing and coordinating activities of different people in order to attain the desired objectives or common goals of the organization. Clear? Let's move down to the next point. Next point says dynamic function. Management is called as a dynamic function. What does dynamic means? Dynamic is something which changes according to change in something, isn't it? Why do you think management is called to be a dynamic process? Think. Yes, because management cannot be static. Management has to change in order to adapt itself to the changing environment. If some changes happen in the external environment, then the management's process has also to be altered according to that change. The best example happened few years ago, the implementation of GST. Now, as that there was a change in tax procedure of our country, that was a change in the external environment. So in order to take over that, or in order to work along that, there was a change made in the management process also. Each and every organization, each and every working places, they also made a change somewhere in their process, isn't it? Why? In order to tackle with the external environment, in order to tackle with the changes made in the external environment. And that is why management is called as a dynamic function, because it adapts according to the need, time and situation. If there is a need, according to the situation, the management has to make certain changes in itself. Let's see what's the example. One example is given here. Yes, the example is about McDonald's. What did the McDonald's people do? See, when they were operating outside India, they had a different menu. They did not use aloo and paneer and these sorts of things. But when they came to India, in order to attract Indian people, they made a change in their menu. They had included such items which are generally liked by the people of India. Clear? Why? Just to survive in the Indian market. They had made a change in their management procedure. They had made a change in their management, the whole management procedure. Okay, so that is why management is called as a dynamic function. And the last feature of management is the intangible force. Intangible, I hope all of you know the meaning. Intangible force means something which cannot be seen, it can only be felt, right? So management is also called here as an intangible function or as an intangible force. Why? Point number one, it cannot be seen. Definitely management cannot be seen in an organization, it can only be felt. Now there are certain activities which helps us to feel that how is this management process of going. Firstly, whether the people are motivated or not. If the people are motivated, then automatically we'll understand that yes, the organization is properly managing its activities, it is following the process of management properly, right? There is orderliness and coordination in the work environment. Means all the activities, all the functions in the organizations are working in a very proper way. There is proper coordination, there is no creation of chaos. So the management process is an intangible force. I hope you understood why, because we can only feel that whether the management is working in a proper way or not by seeing these activities. Employee being motivated, people being happy, orderliness or coordination in the activities of the organization. Okay, so these were basically the 7 features of management or 7 characteristics of management which we have read just now. So that is all for today. We'll meet you in the next video. Thank you.